voters.
And we haven't even gotten to Tulsi Gabbard potentially having access to national security information. And Russia loves it, loves her.
And I actually think almost more than Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard's appointment is devastating. And Tulsi Gabbard's nomination, as much as she says that she's an anti-war person, she's not.
Yeah.
She supports very pro-war individuals.
Including
abroad.
in Syria.
And let's be very clear, a Tulsi Gabbard nomination is a pro-war nomination globally. Point blank, period.
As is Donald Trump as president of the United States.
How are these people allowed to come on these platforms on national television, which are on a mainstream media news network, and say this bullshit?
You know the sad part? This woman have went to war before, and y'all trying to say she went
3 different war zones.
She wanted to watch more Americans die when she potentially seen people get blown up and die in front of her own face.
Yeah, people who've been to war probably are big advocates for let's not do that.
I think the fact that the AOC was allowed to come on the mainstream media news platform and spew these lies is a stain on the credibility of the mainstream news network. And I think we see why they're continually tanking.
She's a congresswoman.
She's a freaking joke. She's a clown. Crusty clown.
How
Circus lost the clown and now it's on TV running his mouth.
A congresswoman.
But you know what's more sad about this? They said pro-war when we really just watched 3 wars happen under one administration.
Yep. And then we also watched that same administration advocate for sending money to fight those wars.
And all of this debate that people are talking about with this woke thing, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's because we care about trans people, and that's why.
And by the way, only Donald Trump cared about trans people because he was the one running $130 million worth of ads. The Harris campaign said nothing about this issue.
That's right. That's right. And listen, the ads, it's not to even deny the fact that these ads were effective in certain areas. What I think people are paying too much attention to is the first half of that ad, which says Kamala Harris is for they, them. Everyone's focusing on that. They're not focusing on the second half of that ad, where he said, Donald Trump is for you.
Yeah.
And Democrats very often, in their messaging, they speak in terms and in concepts and not in the second person. I care about you. And political races are not about one candidate versus another candidate. Too often it gets pigeonholed like that. It is a race to convince a person about who cares about you more. Let me ask you.
Oh my God, nah, bro. Actually, this has to stop, bro.
Joy Reid got a new haircut, and she's
gonna be the
still just as ugly.
Their whole channel, all these channels are going.
Who elected this woman again?
Man,
America has spoken up, bro, and they're not getting views anymore, and we are.
Please get these people off the air. I'm sick of hearing them say the stupid shit that they say.
This is sad, bro.
Like, is this comedy or is this for real? Like,
somebody out there is watching this thinking they're being informed.
A lot of people are.
Who the hell made AOC an expert? She was a freaking bartender before she got into government.
She was a bar?
Yes. Anybody can get in government. You just got to run and get elected. You got to get votes. She got votes.
Too far to the left on transgender rights.
You have to say they. No, you have to do this.
Stop with the virtue signaling.
Step away from woke. Focus less on who is woke and more on who is broke.
Social justice issues take a back seat when your son is in the basement vaping and playing video games and can't find a job.
And was woke overdone?
Right. Well, I'll tell you exactly what I make of it. I was in the Sunday New York Times that a lot of people read, that I'm sure you read, in Maureen Dowd's column. I said, I'll give Harris credit. She didn't use any of the woke language, but this is like trying to wash clothes that's got smoke all over them. You can't get the stench out. And you could ask Senators Manchin, Senator Casey, Senator Brown, Senator Tessa, if they don't think that defund the police had an adverse effect on attitudes toward the Democratic Party. My God. You're right. It was so stupid, no one wanted to bring it up, 3 years later, but the residue of it just stuck with us. And you got to read exactly what was said, exactly what I said. And it's going to take more than one cycle to get this stench off of the Democratic Party. And it's a stench. of the highest order, let me tell you.
I'm going to ask you about the stench in a moment, but I first want to say, because you brought up Maureen Dowd, and there is also an idea that America is still not ready for a female president. But last spring you said, you know, a suspicion of mine is that there are too many preachy females dominating the culture of the Democratic Party. Do you stand by that? Females?
Would you look at our male vote? Would somebody just take a look at how we did with males and how we did with non-white males and tell me that the Democrats don't have a messaging problem, that their message comes across as too feminine? I mean, of course I was right when I said that. I don't think there's not a person in the world I've talked to that doubts that I'm right now.
Okay, James.
I mean, I say provocative things to get a provocative reaction. But are you really, are somebody going to really tell me we don't have a problem with male voters?
Well, you can always count on white Democrats to start complaining and, oh my God, this is what happened and why we lost, and it's defund the police, it's wokeism, it's identity politics, it's all of that stuff.
It literally is, Fatty. This looks like
even though none of that stuff Vice President Kamala Harris actually talked about.
Wow.
It's just whining and complaining. Here's James Carville just really upset, talking about, man, we told y'all this identity crap. It's awful. Listen to this.
Get your head around that. In all of the Washington-based Democrats farting around, going to wine and cheese parties and talking about how misogynistic race comes, get your ass out of Washington and go work on a 2026 campaign and do penance to make up for your goddamn arrogance and stupidity. Well, we're going to say, we told you so. We told you this identity shit was disaster. We told you to get out in front of public safety issues. You didn't. We told you to have an open process and demonstrate the magnificent and staggering and deep talent that exists in the modern Democratic Party. You didn't. We told you to differentiate yourself from Biden. You didn't.
He's right.
I hate to be some know-it-all, but all of these things are part of the record.
Oh, he's dead on.
But the thing that trips me out is all of a sudden they're blaming identity politics. And here's the thing, Cliff. They never seem to admit that whiteness.
What's that Disney movie with the black guy and he like gets to switch his bodies with the cat?
I think I know.
What's that thing? What's that one called?
About, Nutty Professor?
No, bro. It's a Disney movie, bro. What the hell are you talking about?
Nutty Professor.
Bro,
why are they looking like this, bro?
Hold on.
Oh my God, he got the piece of Pan-Africanism shirt on, bro.
Yeah, he does.
Oh my God.
It's called
bro.
Soul. That's what he looked like.
I've never seen that.
You never seen that?
Oh, yeah, Soul.
Let me see.
He do look like the dad off of Soul.
They never seem to admit that whiteness is identity politics. Maleness, white maleness is identity politics. It seems that, if it's black or women or Latino or gay, that's the only identity politics that exists. Here is Donald Trump touting identity politics today.
And getting their money's worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination.
Donald Trump is saying white people.
What was wrong with that?
I don't understand. I think I'm very lost at how they keep talking about how he's talking about going after schools that are using DEI initiatives with a civil rights case, and they're calling that reparations for white people. Like, white people are the only people exclusively affected by this.
The Asians that's affected.
So that's how far they went with it?
It's really a lot of groups that are affected by this. It's not only just white people that are affected by this. Like, I'm sure you can find an example where a black person was hurt by DEI.
Out of that was he want to stop discrimination.
He want to stop DEI and affirmative action. And if you keep doing it, your ass getting sued.
That's
what he
meant,
said. Bottom line. That's reparations for white people.
But if he literally just said, let's stop discrimination.
And then
Period.
And then on top of that, Roland was talking about, he's talking about white maleness is identity politics. Okay, so if you guys are mad at white males and white people for not voting the way you want to, and there's a white guy telling you this shit is not going to get voters to vote your way, and now It all.
It's always the white Democrat.
It's the white person's fault every
You
time.
even dividing black and white in your
Every
party.
time.
But listen,
Come on, bro.
listen though. Quite literally, everything he said was a problem. Is why you lost, and now Roland's mad about that. Roland, you are your own worst enemy. I keep telling him, you are the reason y'all lost. You are going to continue to be the reason. People like you are the reason y'all lost, and you're never gonna.
I'm gonna call the dude that pressed him, bro.
They're never gonna figure it out.
To pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination.
Donald Trump is saying, white people, I'm coming to you with reparations. The Republicans talk to these people about culture, about God, gays, and guns. Republicans ran $135 million worth of ads about Vice President Kamala Harris and transgender surgeries for illegal immigrants in prison. Even though the policy came together under Donald Trump, he was in the White Office. He was in the Oval Office. I call it the White Office because historically has been the White Office. But this is the reality. So I'm just trying to understand what is the conversation that Democrats can have with all of these red states that continue to be broke, to be poor, to be illiterate, and have the worst health outcome.
That's a one demographic of people you're describing.
I'm about to say something,
and they
Roland.
look like you and me.
They're about to say something, Roland, because if we look at who's the worst and who's contributing to that in these Democrat cities, you're not going to be very happy.
You're not.
So I don't think you should say that.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that as someone that looks like you should not say that.
Because you just described a group of people.
You just described a very similar group of people, buddy.
Are these people that dumb, bro?
Yes.
Like, please, man. Lord, don't let these people be this dumb.
He said,
Please.
broke, illiterate, and poor health. Hey, brother, I don't want you to sit and run on that because that's just not a good point there.
He said health. He said health, right?
Yes.
He said health, broke,
With
and can't read.
two fat dudes on the panel right now.
Two fat niggas with that can put on a bra.
You got to jump in his ass. You got to jump in his ass. Jump in his ass. His ass.
That's your big brother.
You gotta push back immediately. Jump in his ass.
So speaking of policy, your campaign flooded the airwaves in the battleground states and on national cable, even on networks and streaming during NFL games with ads specifically focused on a trans issue. I want you to listen to some of it and we'll talk on the other side.
We've heard that.
Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
The transgender community in the U.S. is very, very small. It got really outsized attention. There are a lot of people who say that your campaign demonized the trans community as a way to present a wedge issue for perhaps men of color, suburban parents.
I'm tired of this shit, bro.
Why do you think?
So is black people gay?
And I know you believe that those ads
No, they're
work.
saying, hold on.
Why do you think they work?
They're saying that they use those ads because they know that people of color and men don't rock with that shit at all. So they basically boosted it so that we wouldn't vote for it. But I mean, basically, that's kind of what happened. But I don't see the problem with that because it's a true thing. Y'all are for that, and we are not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let's keep it 100. If they're trying to get that voting block, and you're trying to get that voting block, and that's some shit they don't like, why would they not run on that?
Yeah, nah.
That's a real issue that y'all are in support of, and that's a voting block that is not in support of that issue. Yeah, so they like, if I gotta pay money,
just
and
like
I gotta vote for this voting block.
The whole time?
Hey, I don't see the problem here, Dana Bash. You're actually answering your own question because if they're trying to get that voting block, and that voting block doesn't like that. That's how you do it.
That look like what he's finna say right now too. He finna cook.
No. He looks serious.
He looks scary.
Small. It got really outsized attention. There are a lot of people who say that your campaign demonized the trans community as a way to present a wedge issue for perhaps men of color, suburban parents. Why do you think, and I know you believe that those ads worked, why do you think they worked?
Well, first of all, we didn't demonize the transgender community. In fact, This really isn't even about transgender issues. This ad is really about misplaced priorities. At the end of the day, it is a small minority of the country that thinks taxpayer dollars should be spent on that sort of thing.
Facts.
And when you have a majority of the country who is saying very clearly that they don't believe the government is working for them, they're worse off than they were 4 years ago, the country is in the wrong track, and then to see a presidential candidate who is saying she's going to move this agenda forward and that's how taxpayer dollars should be spent, it just doesn't comport with them. They don't think the government is working for them. People want the government to be doing what their priorities are. And frankly, spending taxpayer dollars to give transgender surgery to prisoners is just not a priority of the American people. And that's why the ad was effective. It's about misplaced priorities on behalf of a leader.
So it was using the top issues that are most important to voters, the economy and immigration, and presenting it through an ad that was very memorable. Were you surprised that the Harris campaign didn't respond in kind?
They can't.
Not particularly, because at the end of the day, it was her words right there very clearly. She was on camera owning that position. And you know, the ad did something else too, which is really important. It positioned her as the ideologically far-left liberal that she is and always was. We saw when she first came into the race, there was this whole rush to try to erase the history of Kamala Harris, who was rated literally the most liberal senator in the U.S. Senate in 2019. And by the way, that was taken off the internet. We know that many outlets came out and said she was never the border czar. And then ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised if she voted for Donald Trump, because she had anonymous aides go out and leak that she was actually supporting his positions now, whether on the economy or the border or otherwise. So she really couldn't run from her words on that one when she was on many other issues.
Whoa. He was good.
Do you guys know who he looks like? He looks like Victor Zsasz off Batman.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
he looks just like him.
He definitely did.
He has the
He's
same.
Hey, I was looking at his shoulders, bro. His shoulders did not move, bro.
Boy,
I was thinking
he was dead calm. That's what he's like in Batman. That's why I was like, damn, that's what he looks like. He's bald and everything.
He did not move a muscle at all.
Kind of gives me that vibe.
Cooked their ass.
Kind of gives me that vibe.
25 monkeys recovered. What?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that in South Carolina?
Sorry.
Did they break out of the lab or something?
Yeah, they had little Caesars walking around.
Damn.
Talking in sign language to was in South Carolina. They doing this. Nah,
we don't want what with you. We don't want this.
No,
we don't want
it's funny because he was going so hard on Kamala. Dana Bash started laughing. He said she probably voted for Trump because her aides was telling people she was stealing his policies. I mean, it's very interesting that they try to like demonize that, and like this dude just came and shut that down so easily. Trump got hitters, man. Like
it's like so many, bro.
It's very interesting, like how many like well-spoken people that are like no bullshit and get straight to the point and stay calm that are on the conservative side, and we're starting to see more and more. And more
all of this
more
debate that people are talking about with this.
We're starting to see more and more of them. I think they are the future of politics because nothing gets under the skin, nothing rattles them. They don't argue with emotion. And
show me a Democrat.
It's just facts.
Show me one. Just show me one.
Facts.
That's all we want, guys.
Well,
I mean,
James, we seen James.
James who?
James
Blair.
we just watched James.
James is James from Joe Biden, y'all. He got
talking
common
about a bald
sense.
dude named James, aren't you?
Are you talking about? Who you talking about? James
The
from
old
New Orleans?
man.
You talking
His
about
name
New
was James.
Nah, James. That was James right there.
That was that bald dude.
Yeah,
James.
bald dude was James.
Who
You talking about the dude?
I'm talking about the old
Was
dude.
his name James?
No,
Yeah,
I
his
don't
name's
I don't think
James.
his name
Is
is
it?
James.
I think it's James, bro.
I don't think
You
it
want to put
was.
bread on it? Let's put 100 on it right now.
His name's James.
Yeah,
You confident in that?
I'm very confident. I remember reading it. Goddamn James.
Oh, well, okay. Hey, man. Hey, man. Y'all can't convince me, man. This dude right here, he voted for Donald Trump.
No, that's what I said. James can run.
Yeah, all right.
Ryan.
No, he didn't.
I said
I don't think he voted for. I don't know why you
You
guys
just
are
put-
even. I don't even know why you even say he voted for Donald Trump. We watched
don't
him
know,
bash
bro.
Donald Trump multiple times.
JD did that. A bunch of people did that.
JD did
Years
that
ago.
years ago. He
Okay.
did that during this current
Who he
election
cook-
cycle.
But who does he cook more? Kamala and the Democrats or Trump?
Because he's trying to help his party.
Yeah, he's trying to help his party win. So he's talking about the problem that they're having, which
Well,
why
okay,
they're
maybe
not
not.
going to
He
win.
didn't vote for him, but
And JD cooked Trump. JD was on the
he's
Trump
old
bad
school
side
Democrat.
years ago.
Old school Democrats is gonna come to the right.
I don't know about that.
All right, guys, let's know what y'all think, man. These people are triggered every day, man. This shit is hilarious, guys. We gone.